Welcome back to Just Scrap Radio on BJPENN.com. I'm your host, Cole Shelton. Episode 132, we got a good lineup at UFC 291. First up, we're going to join about one half of the co-main event, Jan Blachowicz, to preview his fight against Alex Pereira. This is a really fun fight. Obviously, Alex moved up to 205 after losing by second round knocked Israel Adesanya back in April to lose his middleweight title. Blachowicz hasn't fought since December last year when he had the draw against Magomed Ankalaev for the vacant light heavyweight title. He's really looking forward to this fight. He thinks he can have a lot of success against Alex, but something really interesting he said he wants to really test his striking out in the first round with Alex, and after that, he plans to really use his wrestling and just dominate the fight on the ground. We're then going to be joined by Stephen Thompson to preview his fight against Michel Pereira. This is a fight Stephen has wanted for quite some time. I remember talking to him last year before he got the Kevin Holland fight. He wanted Michel Pereira at MSG. Didn't come to fruition. He got Kevin Holland, won that fight. And now here they are fighting at the end of July at UFC 291. They were supposed to fight UFC 289 Vancouver. Steven said that fight just really never came to fruition. Like no contracts ever got sent out. So that fight was never official and they just ended up getting moved to the end of July, which Steven's really looking forward to. We then close things out talking to Trevin Giles to preview his fight against the undefeated Gabriel Bonfim. Trevin, very impressive. Coming up the two straight wins over Preston Parsons and Louis Cosi. Now fights off the very impressive Gabriel Bonfim coming off that 49-second win over Munir Lizez. And really looking forward to this one. I think this one could be a lot of fun. Trevin thinks it could be a fight of the night contender, but he's really looking forward to this one. He thinks a win over Gabriel does a lot for his career. But be sure to share the show, subscribe, and tune in next week for another episode of Just Scrap Radio. All right, we're joined by UFC light heavyweight Jan Blachowicz, who has a big fight at UFC 291. Jan, how's it going?
All good, thank you. Camp is good. No injuries. Everything is on the point like should to be. So I'm happy and cannot wait to go to Salt Lake City and do my job.
Are you surprised how long it took you to get a fight? Like obviously fighting last December, or was this the time frame you wanted?
For me, it's the best time. I'm not the younger fighter anymore, so I need a little bit longer break. So I have time for me, for my family, for for living, enjoy the life, and also I have time to prepare for this next battle. So for me, it was perfect, perfect break and perfect time to start a new camp again, to prepare everything like should to be.
What do you take away from that last fight? Like obviously the draw against Ankalaev for the title, like a close fight. I know on the fight you're a bit disappointed, but like I thought it was a draw. So like, what do you take away from that fight?
I need to work a little bit more about the wrestling, about my ground game. I need to believe in that because in the gym always work very good. In the fight, sometimes not. So we focus about this. I don't want to do this mistake anymore and be good in this part of the fight. And that's it, and also sometimes I see that Ankalaev is almost done, 2 more kicks, and I should to kick, I should to close the eyes and kick, whatever happened, I should to do this 2 more kicks and we'll be over. And also sometimes you need to do something like this, not thinking, just go and do it. In the 3rd round and the 5th round, I start to think too much and rough.
With Alex Pereira, how did this fight come together? Like, was this one you were interested in, or is it just who the UFC offered you?
No, when I hear the Pereira wants to go to my division, 205, we send message to UFC that we want him because this is very good matchup for me. He's very good sportsman, so perfect matchup for me. I want to, fight against fighters like him. So yeah, we send an email. Not me, my manager sent email to UFC, and this fight we want this fight and we have it. So I'm happy.
Do you think like Alex has been basically a light heavyweight his entire career? Because like he was massive at middleweight. I always thought he should have been fighting at 205.
Yeah, he is big, but we will see how he's gonna look in the 205 because he cut a lot of weight. And 205 is different. Even if you are big and you cut a lot of weight, you fight in a different division. So your mind is you set your mind on different kind of move, different style, different speed, different timing. And in 205 everything is different. I know what I'm talking because I fight against a couple guys from middleweight. I've got good experience against them, so I know what I'm talking about. I know what it's like. I also sometimes train against heavyweight guy in my gym. And in the gym, in the training is okay, but I know that if I will go to heavyweight, it will be much different, and much harder than in the gym. So, but this is his problem, not mine. Pressure on his side. I'm just happy that I can fight against him.
You fought a lot of very high level strikers in your career. Like, where would you kind of rank Alex's striking for who you fought? Like, do you think he'd be the best striker you fought?
I think so. This is what he's one of the best in the world, not only in MMA, only in the just pure kickboxing. So yes, that's why I'm happy. I'm motivated, to make this fight and see how my stand-up gonna look against his stand-up. I'm curious. I want to check it. That's why I'm very happy and motivated to go there and start fighting against him.
You obviously use wrestling a lot against Adesanya. Like, how important do you think wrestling will be in this fight with Alex?
Yeah,
especially being known for striking.
It's not a secret, if his stand-up will be much better than mine, this is MMA, so I can, try to catch him and take fight to the ground. And if I'm gonna have opportunity to do it, I will. But like I told you before, I won't check my stand-up against his stand-up. Mm-hmm. But yes, if I gonna feel, that I don't feel my stand-up, that he's much better, of course I'm gonna use the wrestling. I'm not stupid. I know what to do to win this fight.
You've obviously fought against middleweights coming up like Adesanya, Rockhold, Jacare. Like, how much do you think your size and strength will play a role? Like, I think Pereira is probably bigger than those guys, but like, it is a 15-pound weight difference that you guys, or a 20-pound weight difference that you guys are fighting at.
There's gonna be normal fight against normal, 205 guy, like in the weight. But in MMA, he never fight in 205, so that's gonna be something new for him. And experience also in 205 will be on my side, and I'm happy because I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna use it because that's gonna be completely new for him, completely new style, new timing, new power. Even the weight will be different for him because I'm gonna be heavier than his opponent from middleweight. Yeah, so he gonna feel it. He gonna feel it. I promise you. He gonna feel the legendary Polish power.
How do you think his powered speed will translate to 205? Or because obviously he was very powerful and pretty quick at middleweight, but just kind of adding weight. Like, how do you think that's going to impact him?
Yeah, he's one of the best striker in the world. So he's got knockout punch power. He's got very good timing, good speed. All his stand up is very good. So I have to be very careful in the first second of the fight. But we've got good sparring partners, very good kickboxers, so we're gonna be ready for his style, for his tricks, for everything what he prepared for me. But we will see how he gonna look in the fight.
Obviously, Salt Lake is in elevation. Like last year when they did the event in Utah, we saw a lot of guys kind of tire out pretty easily. Like, how do you train for that? Like, I know it is just a 3-round fight. You fought 5 rounds before, but like, how do you kind of get used to that elevation?
Yeah, before we go to Salt Lake City, I've got camp in the mountains. Okay. So bigger elevation, and I'm gonna be there 3 weeks before fight to used to that. I fight before in Albuquerque. It's much higher than Salt Lake City. I do completely same things before fight. First came in Poland in mountains, then we go 3 weeks before fight over there. So I feel great. No, I don't feel any my breath was perfect. I feel good. So this time we're gonna do exactly the same, and I believe it's gonna be working perfect again.
Did you bring anyone in to prepare for Alex, like any strikers, or just the usual guys you normally?
No. I've got good sparring. In Poland we've got very good kickboxers. So they help me a lot. Not the same, but similar sparring partners like I prepared to Adesanya. But Adesanya, in the first look you can say okay, they've got similar style, but they are completely different. So they need to change a little bit. But yes, almost the same sparring partners like to Adesanya. So I'm gonna be ready. Very good kickboxers and MMA fighters. So yeah.
Was there any ever talk of making this fight 5 rounds? Especially because I think the winner of this one probably gets a title shot.
Not probably, but I can say just for myself that if I wanna win this fight, and I believe that I'm gonna do it, my next fight will be for the title.
So yes, but we don't talk about that's gonna be 5 minutes round. They signed contract was 3 minutes, three rounds, 5 minutes, and that's it. We don't talk about 5 minutes fight.
And then for you, like, what's it like to be a part of this card? Like, this is one of probably the bigger cards they do, like the entire card stack. Like, I know a lot of my friends that aren't like huge UFC fans already text me to make sure we're gonna watch it because they saw the cards. Like, what's it like for you to be a part of this?
Yes, I'm happy. I saw the card. Card is amazing. So I'm happy that I can be part of this event and be like a co-main event against Pereira. Happy that I can be the part of something big like this.
With this one, like, how do you see it playing out?
The fight,
Yeah.
like always, fights start in the stand up. So I will try to he got very good stand up, very powerful, but he got also a lot of holes in his game in stand up. So we try to gonna use it and knock him out in stand up. But also we've got second option, take him down and finish fight on the ground. But yes, I see that's happy. The finish of the fight will be in second round. I'm gonna be the winner.
I know Dana White after said if Alex beats you, he's probably next in line, but like, have the UFC confirmed that like the winner of this does get a title shot, or is that just kind of your assumption?
No, for me it's like in my contract.
Okay, yeah, they wrote it out.
I don't know how in the Alex side, but for me it's like if I win, next fight for the title.
When we're doing this, they haven't booked Jamal Hill yet, so like everything kind of points to Yuri probably by the end of the year. So like, do you think that title shot would probably be like early next year, like maybe first quarter next year? Then
we will see. I don't know. I'm gonna wait for my for my chance. Maybe they're gonna do Jamal against Prohaska, and then I'm gonna fight against winner, or maybe I don't know how Prohaska is. His shoulder, it's he trained or not. I don't know how his situation looks right now. So maybe Jamal gonna have to wait a little bit longer for me. So we will see.
That was my next question. Like, do you think there is a chance like you might end up getting like having to slide in to fight Hill like in a few months right after this fight, especially?
Yeah, if I don't catch any injury in the fight, why not? I can do this after couple weeks. No problem. If fight will be no damage. If I'm gonna have a lot of damage, I need to rest a little bit, of course.
Were you surprised to see Jamal Hill beat Glover and become the champ?
Yeah, a little bit. That was something what I didn't expect. But he got the chance. He used it. So yeah, congratulations. He do what he have to do. He is the champion.
Is that Ankalaev fight one you'd like to get back to just because it was a draw, or do you just more kind of interested in obviously the title and Alex right now?
Yes, of course. We need to finish this fight. But right now, I don't think about Ankalaev. Because they give me Pereira, it's much better for me. And if I win, I'm gonna have title shot. So I don't think what Ankalaev do right now. He also don't have any fight soon. So I don't thinking about him right now.
I don't know if you agree, but I kind of think, say you go out there and do knock out Alex, like I think this might be his one and only fight at light heavyweight. Like maybe he realizes the power and strength is a bit different. Like, do you think there's a chance you beat Alex? He kind of just goes right back down to 85.
We will see after the fight. What's gonna be his next decision. Remember, he cut a lot of weight, and this is not easy job. And every year he's a little bit older, and it's gonna be much harder for him. So even if I beat him, I think he stay in 205.
Just a couple more things. Like, I can't believe you're 40 years old. I saw that and I was a bit surprised. Like, is it still surreal for you to be like fighting at this high level at 40? Like, it doesn't seem like you're 40 at all the way you fight still.
Yeah, but I still feel good. I changed a little bit in my preparation. I cannot train like 5 or 10 years ago. I need to do a little bit different right now, but it's working very well. When I spar against younger fighters, I look very good against them. So still got it, still feel it, still fire inside me. Still I want to do it. I still feel pleasure that I can do it. No injuries. So yes, 40 years old, but old but not absolute.
Just two more things. Have you thought about how much longer you're still going to fight for, or is that still just like
I know the end is very close, but I don't thinking about this. I think 4 more fights, so 2 or 3 more years in this business, and after that, retire. Beer, relax, and spend time with family. Enjoy the life.
Just final thing, like I know when we've always talked, you've always kind of, even when you were the champion, you always kind of talked about heavyweight, but like, do you still think you're going to fight heavyweight before your career's up, or do you just think like these last 3-4 fights just all might be at 205?
Right now I focus about 205 and try to take belt against Poland. This is my goal. If I do it, yes, I will try to go to the heavyweight.
And maybe finally get that Jones fight that you should.
Maybe finally. If not, I will catch him somewhere on the, on the parking. And we do it. Because he promised me this fight.
Yeah,
and
he was in attendance when you knocked him out. That was supposed to be the next fight. Then he just vacated.
Yes, and he don't want to make it. So he promised me, and I believe that someday, somewhere, we're going to do it.
Well, Jan, I appreciate the time as always. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, we're joined by UFC welterweight Stephen Thompson, who's back in action at the end of July. Stephen, how's it going, man?
Doing good, man. Full summer, man. We got karate camps going on, training 2 to 3 times a day, and living life, baby. Living life of a martial artist. I love it.
How happy are you with this opponent? Because I remember before you got the Kevin Holland fight, we did an interview, and you were saying you were hoping Pereira at the MSG card, but obviously you end up getting Holland. But how happy are you that you finally get a chance to fight Michel Pereira?
I think it's great, man. I think it's going to be a good scrap and good one for the fans. That's for sure. Good, exciting fight. Like my last Holland fight, in order to have, be up for fight of the year, you got to have a good dance, good sparring partner, good fighting opponent that's going to put on a show. So that's what I'm looking to do come July 29th.
You were supposed to fight on Vancouver at UFC 289, and then it kind of got moved to 291. Like, what kind of was the reason why it got moved?
I have no idea, man. I just didn't get a contract till like weeks before. And the next thing you know, they're like, we're going to postpone it. I'm like, okay. And I wasn't really sure when at the point at that time, but ended up getting postponed, and here we are.
Were you a bit disappointed with that? Like, because I know it's been a while for you fighting. Are you still fine just having to fight a month later?
No, I don't mind, man. It just gives me more time to prepare for the fight, be in better shape and be more prepared to go out there and put on a show.
And fighting in Salt Lake, like last year when they did the thing in Utah, like a lot of the fighters were complaining about the elevation, like how tired they got. Like, how do you kind of get ready and prepare for that?
Man, number one, train as hard as I can. But two, I sleep in an altitude chamber anyway, sleeping out an altitude and train in low altitude. So I'm up at like 8,500 feet right now. Of course, it's different when you're actually living out there, right? But anything that I can do to prepare, I'm going to do it. I've had this thing, and I've been using it for every camp since I was supposed to fight in Denver against Brandon Thatch years ago. And I've been using it ever since, so it definitely helps.
With Michel, like, he started out like in the UFC with all those flips. It kind of cost him against Tristan Conley, and then he did the illegal knee against Diego. But since then, he's kind of toned it down. He's been a lot better. Like, what have you kind of made of his last couple fights?
Yeah, a lot smarter in conserving his energy, that's for sure. I know he changed camps. I think he's in Team Couture in Vegas. So I think that might have helped him a little bit. But do I expect something crazy out of him? I do. I do expect him to go out there and do something crazy. But he does conserve his energy a lot now, a lot better than he used to. So, I know he's known for his striking, but he's not afraid to take the fight to the ground. So I'm prepared wherever the fight will go. If it's keep a stand or if the guy's going to be shooting to try to take me down. So
how do you kind of prepare for his style? Because like not many guys are throwing like kicks, running off the cage and like doing somersaults and front flips and stuff. Like, how do you kind of get ready for that in case he does bring that back out?
It's just, in our karate style, we're used to a little bit of craziness, not that quite as crazy, the backflips and stuff, but during the fight. But we are, I am used to some wild and crazy stuff that our karate guys throw. So, You know, it's all about reading my opponent, being able to read him in the moment, and be able to adapt to anything that he throws. That's why I like this game. Be able to go out there and adapt to my opponent. That game of chess. You know, so that's why one of the reasons why I'm excited for this fight too. He's a big welterweight, and he's athletic. He's explosive, and that's the kind of guy I want to face off against right there.
Do you think this one just plays out on the feet, or like most guys, do you think he will wrestle you at some point?
I think he will at some point. Usually they do. I mean, even Kevin Holland said he wasn't going to, and then he ended up in the third and fourth round. So I expect it. I think if there's a chance or opportunity there for it, I think he'll go for it. So and vice versa. If it's there, you might see me use a little bit more of my wrestling. But yeah, I really do.
And then what's it like for you to be a part of this card? Like this one to be like, even though there's no title fight, like every 5 fights on the main card, I think are really entertaining. Like it seems like it's gonna be one of the bigger ones they do. Like I know you've been a part of a lot of big cards. What's it like to be a part of this one?
Oh, it's another big card that I'm excited about. Probably one of the best ones of the year, I think. Stat card in Salt Lake City, which I'm familiar with. I've spent a lot of time there this past few years, just kind of going back and forth. One of my buddies is fighting this weekend. Is a UFC debut. He's from Utah. So it's great to go out there and meet the fans, man, and perform in front of these guys and see where I, you know, especially with the altitude where I'm at cardio-wise, you know, fighting in somewhere different. Usually it's Vegas or New York for me or Canada, but I've never fought in Utah. So it's going to be exciting.
Are you planning to go out a bit earlier than normal to get accustomed to the elevation, or do you just stay on like going Monday or Tuesday fight week, whatever it is?
No, I'm going out like 5 days earlier.
Okay.
So we got a place out there that we're going to be staying out, getting ready to altitude. I think we're going to be another several miles up. So we're not going to be directly where the fight's going to be. We're going to be actually up in higher elevation just to prepare a little bit more.
And then with this one, like, how do you kind of see it playing out? Like, Michelle's a pretty durable dude. Like, he's hard to put away, and like, he's even hard to hit. Like, a lot of guys have trouble hitting him. So, like, how do you kind of see it playing out?
Yeah, man, he's tough. He's tough. You know, I never look for the knockout or anything. I always visualize my hand being raised and preparing for the hardest fight ever. And that's what I prepare for. You know, going out there, if it's standing up, if it's on the ground, mentally, I'm better off being prepared for the hardest fight than thinking I'm going to go out there and knock the guy out. Because if it does get hard, I'm mentally prepared for that.
And then in front of fans too, like, does that just amp you up even more? That, like, I know you didn't enjoy the Apex fight at all, so staying in front of fans, like, does that just kind of amp you up a bit more for these fights?
Oh, 100%, man. You know, going back in front of the fans is what does it for me. I mean, I think I perform my best in front of the fans. The crowd gets you going, the energy around the fight, leading up to the fight. It's all exciting, man. I love fighting in front of the fans.
Does having Poirier Gaethje in the main event put a bit more pressure? Like, it's going to be hard to get a fight of the night with those two kind of throwing down.
I don't even think about it, man. I go out there and do my thing, man. And if it happens, knockout happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm just going to go out there and have some fun, man. That's all I'm worried about.
What do you think a win over Michelle does for you? Like, obviously, he's ranked, I think, 14th or 15th. Like, I know you're a guy, like, it would be 2 in a row, 2 good wins. Like, what do you think a win does for you?
Well, hopefully we'll fight somebody that's ranked above me at this point. Good win over Michelle Pereira. Fight somebody in the top 5 and get back to that title shot, especially against another striker like Leon Edwards. I think that would be a great fight. The last few guys that he has fought have been wrestlers, so I know he would be excited to fight another striker as well.
Do you think, like, you might just be like a win away from getting a title shot after you beat Michelle? Like, it might just be one more?
You never know. You never know in the UFC, you know? You used to, but not anymore. I mean, it could be, but I think maybe 1 or 2 more, they'll you know, be able to work our way back up to a title shot.
Who do you think gets that next shot? Like, do you think it will be Bilal, or do you think they're going to give it to Colby?
I don't know, man. For some reason, I feel like Colby's shooting for it, but I think who's more deserving is Bilal. I mean, this will be the 3rd, I guess, title try for Colby. Like, why does he get 3?
Twice?
Yeah. I mean, come on, man. Give some other guys a shot.
And it's not even like he's going on these long runs. Like he gets one win and then he gets
Yeah.
the title shot again.
I don't get it, man. I don't understand. When has that ever happened before? Unless it was a Chael Sonnen, he talked his way into it. But yeah, man. I mean, he's fought. He got demolished. He got beat by Kamaru, and the way Leon beat Usman. I mean, does Cole even have a chance? I don't think so. So give it to somebody else. Give it to somebody who's more deserving, who's on that, several fight win streak, like Bilal.
Were you surprised kind of how like one-sided that third fight was with Leon and Kamaru? Like, especially after the way the second fight goes, like Kamaru kind of like winning every round and getting caught with the head kick late. Like, I kind of thought Kamaru would just kind of do the same thing for 5 rounds and beat Leon again.
Yeah, man, I thought so too. But I think that knockout might have done something mentally for Usman. Not only that, but in that first fight, Leon Edwards ended up taking him down and holding him down for the first round. So I think that was another kind of mental defeat right there that could have possibly led to Kamaru Usman fighting the way he did the second fight. He came out with the other side forward. I think his right foot in front, which is normally he doesn't do that. He keeps his left foot in front. So I don't know, man. I think that knockout might have messed with him a little bit.
One guy I did want to ask about is Ian Gary, who kind of is the next big thing. It looks like they're giving him Jeff Neal. Like, are you surprised at how fast the UFC's pushing him? Like, what do you kind of made of his run?
Yeah, I mean, no, he's got to get the gab. He's from Ireland. He's kind of like a protege of Connor, and he's hype, man. I mean, he's going out there finishing dudes, going hard. So it makes sense that the UFC is pushing him. But he's got a very tough fight in Jeff Neal, me facing him before. The thing is, which Jeff Neal is going to show up. Sometimes he does. His last fight, like he just wasn't quite there. So if the right Jeff Neal shows up, it's going to be a banger.
And then the other guy I wanted to ask about is obviously Chris Weidman got his return fight booked. Like, what's that like for you to see? Because every time we've done an interview, like you always said, like, oh, he's getting close, and it was like another couple months, but now it's finally booked. Like, what's the kind of thought about in the gym?
I'm excited, man. I'm excited. He came down a few weeks ago, got some training in. Hopefully next week he's going to be able to come down and help me get ready and in return help him get ready for his fight. He's got 3 weeks after my fight. So if I go out there, put in some work, I don't care how banged up I am, I'm going to go back and help him get ready for his fight.
How emotional will that be for like you and like his whole family to see that walk? Because like I think a lot of people after that leg break probably thought, especially at his age, probably thought like that was it. That's the last time he was ever fighting again.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's going to be very emotional. I know for his family, just everything that they've been through the past few years, with the injury and trying to recover from that, man. It's just like been one thing after the next. So to be able to see him make that walk again and listen to his music, it's going to be emotional. That's for sure.
And then he said he's going to throw the hardest leg kick of his life right away. Like, what are you kind of?
I saw that. I'm like, no, don't do that, please. Just go out there and just fight. Just fight.
Do you think though that like is something like mentally you'll have to get over in the fight, and like it might be smart just do it right out of the gate to see if that leg can hold up?
100%, man. I mean, he's already throwing super hard leg kicks right now in sparring. Like every time I take one of his leg kicks, I feel like my leg's about to break. So he's already just throwing that leg with, reckless abandonment, man. The guy's got some of the hardest kicks ever. So, and he's still throwing them in sparring like he doesn't even care.
And just final thing, like back to you, like you go out there, beat Michelle end of July. Like, what's the goal then for you the rest of the year? Like, do you think you're hopefully to get one more in?
I hope so. I hope I'm able to make it on the November card, or they usually have one at Madison Square Garden at that time. To be able to get on that card would be amazing as well. So yeah, definitely looking to get another fight in before the year is out. Just depends on how I come out of this fight.
Well, Wonderboy, I appreciate the time as always. Thank you so much for doing this again.
You're welcome, buddy. No problem, Cole. I appreciate you having me on.
All right, we're joined by UFC welterweight Trevin Giles, who's back in action at UFC 291. Trevin, how's it going, man?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, obviously, we're extending the win streak to 2 last time out, like back in March. Like, was this about the right time frame for you, the end of July? Or were you hoping to return a bit sooner than this?
I think it's a decent time. I had a few things that were kind of going on. Most people don't know when I fought Parsons, he actually
got my my right arm pretty good in that arm bar. Towards I think it was towards the end of the first round. Second round came out, tried to throw my right hand, and my elbow was kind of jacked up. So I pretty much jabbed the rest of the fight, and then afterwards ended up having to go get seen because of some damage done to my elbow. So I think I needed a little bit of time, and this was the perfect amount of time.
And then getting on this pay-per-view card, which to me is like, even though there's no title, like one of the better cards on paper so far. It's like, what's it like for you to be a part of this card?
Man, it's dope, man. Like even when I saw the card, at first I got the matchup and everything, and you know, where it was and everything, and I didn't realize the card, and then I looked at it, and now it's just like shit. Like it was a really dope card, one of the most stacked cards I've seen in a long time.
And then fighting in Salt Lake City, like when they did the event last year, like a lot of guys were complaining about the elevation, kind of how tired that made them. Like, do you change anything with training, like kind of knowing it is obviously higher in elevation?
I would say just focusing on conditioning, man. I mean, that's pretty much it. Just try to make sure I'm as conditioned as possible. Not doing a whole bunch of weight training and stuff, you know, just making sure the cardio and everything is on point. Other than that, man, I mean, look, I'm training, that guy's training. We're going to be fighting in the same space.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to deal with the same elevation I'm dealing with, you know, so, I mean, it is what it is. I don't see myself getting tired because I've been doing a lot of conditioning. But you know, if I'm tired, he's tired, you know, and if we get tired early, I mean, it's going to be even fight no matter what, you know, we're dealing with the same circumstances.
And then with Gabriel, like how familiar were you with him? Like obviously you had that UFC debut, which looked impressive, submitting Lizez. Like how familiar were you with him?
Man, I've told a few people this, but I'm not I haven't been really familiar, man. I'm not a huge mixed martial arts fan, to be honest. Like I don't watch a whole lot of fights and all that other stuff. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy practicing it, you know. But a lot of the guys that are like up and coming and stuff, if it's people that aren't already established, you know, then for the most part, I kind of don't really know them. So there's no disrespect to him or anybody else, but that's just what it is. I don't really pay that much of attention until your name's on a contract.
Yeah, and like it might surprise a lot of like fans listening, but like I know I talk to a lot of fighters that are kind of the exact same thing because MMA is their job and they just don't want to kind of, when they're not working, having to just watch it and focus on it all the time. So like with it, like once you get it, like do you then just start watching like tape, or do you leave that up to your coaches then?
No, yeah, I watch tape. My coaches watch tape. There's nothing wrong with being familiar with your opponent. I mean, honestly, I think that it's not very smart if a fighter is not also watching tape, right? Because there are things that coaches understand a great deal, but there's no reason as to why you wouldn't get your own little experience, you know, watching videos and becoming familiar with the way people move. You know, you might catch on to something your coaches don't catch on to. You know, I mean, you might understand distancing a little bit more because you were in the ring a lot more frequent than your coaches. You know, I just fought a few months ago. I mean, my coaches haven't fought in a long time. You know, so I think that I have valuable insight just as they do.
And then with Gabriel, like all his wins are by finish, a lot of first round finishes, a lot of submissions. So like for you, like, do you think the longer the fight goes, like the more it benefits you, especially with how kind of quickly he gets these done, like how kind of much energy he uses in that opening round?
Yeah, I think that it's very to me, I think that would be the obvious observation. So yeah, I mean it's starting off, he likes to have a fast pace, you know. I mean, to me it speaks out to how risky he's being as well, you know. He's not afraid to go out there and just fight, and he's a little risky when he's coming forward, you know, because everybody has that chance to land that shot. But yeah, he definitely likes to start off aggressive, and ideally you would look at that and say, hey, well, whoever's fighting him needs to take their time, make it out the first round, maybe make it out the second, and then maybe have your best chances, you know. So, but you never know until you know you're in there fighting, right? So things can sound like a good idea until somebody's in front of you actually trying to do something.
Do you think people like still like overlook you a lot in your career? Like a lot of times, like you're the underdog or like just like a pick 'em, and like you kind of look at your career like I feel like you don't really get a whole lot of respect you deserve. Like you beat Rowan Delidze, who was like a top 10 guy. Like you fought DDP and like had some success against him, and you see what he just did to Rob, and like even your welterweight debut against Michael. Like ever since then, like no one's really had him hurt or in much trouble than you had him. Like, do you think people are still kind of overlooking you and like doubting you a lot in these fights?
They do. I know people do, but you know, it doesn't. I don't need other people's beliefs. You know, I don't need anybody else to believe in me. You know, I got my family believes in me, God believes in me. You know, I don't need anybody else to say, oh, well, that guy's good or he's great or whatever. I believe in myself. I don't fight harder because, you know, a bunch of people I don't know overlook me. I mean, so it is what it is. But yeah, I've noticed it. You know, I think everybody looks at, you know, betting odds and all that other stuff, but it doesn't really mean anything. Like I said, everything gets real when others are standing in front of you. So if my opponents don't believe in me, then that's just that's a flaw in there.
And then you've been looking a lot better at welterweight. Like, do you think you should have maybe made this move like a while back then?
I won't say should have. I could have for sure. The weight cuts are not bad for me at all. I feel good when I'm fighting. I feel energetic. I still feel fast. I still feel strong. I don't feel like I've really lost anything, you know. But yeah, I could have. Now, should I have? I mean, I've had some victories and stuff at 185 as well. Some good experience, you know, ran into some good guys, you know. So I think it has value, you know, me fighting at middleweight. Now it wasn't really necessary because obviously I can be at 170. But yeah, I mean, I feel good at 170, so I think it was a good move, and I do feel like it's where I belong.
And I could be mistaken, but I remember hearing before your last fight that you quit the police job, so just like full-time fighting now. Like, how beneficial has that been for you, where you're just not having to juggle two jobs?
Man, it's good. I get a lot more time with my family. I get a lot more time to train. You know, before it was like getting on a shift. You know, I would train first because I worked the evening shift, and I would get on a shift, and then, you know, go home, try to spend as much time as I can with my family, go to sleep, wake up, do the same thing. You know, now I'm able to train, come home, get some conditioning in, spend time with my family, relax a little bit, do some recovery, hit the gym again, you know, and really get into work. You know, that way I'm not making as many mistakes, and I'm in better shape. And I think that also helped with the weight cut too, you know. So yeah, like I said, I think I belong at 170, and I think it was a great thing for me to go ahead and just focus on this full time, because most of these other guys are, and I don't want anybody to have an edge over me.
With this one, like, how do you kind of see it playing out? Like, obviously he's undefeated for a reason, like looks pretty impressive, but how do you kind of see it playing out?
I see he's gonna. I feel like he's gonna come out aggressive. To be honest, I don't know if I'm gonna take my time or not. It's gonna depend. You know, if he shows me an opening and I can capitalize on the opening, I'm gonna take it. He can start fast. I can also start fast. I see this. I just see me winning, man. I see me coming out there and getting the win. I'm never positive about how it's gonna happen. I used to always want to rush, you know, try to get finishes and stuff. But now for me, it's more about being skilled and being technical, right? And doing what is necessary to get the victory. So if he makes mistakes and I'm able to get a finish, then I'll take it. You know, if he doesn't make a lot of mistakes and I'm not able to finish, you know, it is what it is. I have faith that I will win on the cards. I think I'm 100% now on decisions and stuff as well. So I know that I have the gas tank to go the distance. So that's another piece of confidence that I bring in. And obviously I can finish. I have a bunch of finishes on my record. So I can win in any way, and anywhere that he brings the fight. And I have strong will, so I'm not gonna. He's not gonna come forward and bully me or anything like that. I mean, if he brings the fire, I can bring the fire too. I can put him on his heels. I just think I can win anywhere, man. I think more than likely he's probably going to get tired. We're fighting at higher elevation. He's an aggressive guy. I mean, it seems like he would probably bank on trying to make the fight fast as he can make it, and I think that'll be a poor game plan. But on the other hand, I don't think that he'll be skilled enough to beat me if he's taking his time either. Right, because I like pressing forward, and I'm also good at countering as well. So I just think it's a tough fight for him. He's a good fighter as well. I mean, like you said, he's undefeated for a reason. He's not a joke. He's not a slouch. He's got as much skill as if I was fighting somebody who has more of a name. So for me, it's not the most advantageous fight because he is really good, but he doesn't have a name behind him just yet. But he's fighting with the same skill that some of the ranked guys have, So it's a good fight. I'm excited for it. It's a good test and everything. But I have no doubt about me going out there and winning.
Just two more things. Like, you do beat Gabriel, like 3-3 shot fight win streak, 3-1 overall at welterweight. Like, where do you think this kind of puts you? Like, there is a lot of welterweight fights on this card. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they just match a bunch of you guys up after. But, like, what do you think a win here does for you? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it is a ranked guy or, like, a fight to get you into the rankings.
Man, I have no idea. It's hard to predict. It's where I am in my career. It's hard to predict what's going to happen next. I hope they give me a ranked fight, or somebody with a name, so it can increase, my following and people that are more aware of me and stuff like that as well. But I don't know. We'll see, man. I really just focus on the fights. I got Gabriel in front of me right now, so I don't know what's going to happen afterwards, but I'm just focused on going out there and getting the win over.
And just final thing, like, I think to me it's kind of crazy you're only 30, especially because, like, you've been in the UFC now for like a minute now, and it seems like you're just kind of coming into your own. So, like, and now that you're not a cop either, like, what is kind of the goal then for you the rest of you? Like, I imagine you're probably hoping to be a bit more active now as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. I've definitely been trying to be more active. It's just whenever whenever I'm in good health and whenever I get offered these opportunities. But yeah, it's funny you say I've been here for a while. I feel like I have not been here that long. I feel like sometimes I feel like I've just got here. I don't feel like I've done a whole lot in the sport. I mean, that could just be how I'm thinking, but I don't feel like I've done nearly as much as I'm going to do here. But yeah, obviously I have aspirations. I want to make a lot of money. To me, that's the biggest thing, being able to make money doing this and to set up passive income and make sure my family's good and everything. And if that championship belt is if it's in reach, and I'm gonna grab that too.
Well, Trevin, I appreciate the time as always. Thank you so much for doing this again.
Thank you. Appreciate it.